Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our evening edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars live feed spoilers. We'll talk briefly about the second episode of the season, then we'll get into everything from the live feeds. We have a lot to get into. We'll say from the start, we don't have anything else major to say about it. The backyard is open. Woo! Finally, people can go outside, which means it's good for a lot of them. I'm curious to see the feeds later and see what's going on there, but...
Yeah.
We'll talk more here about strategy. There is another Nicole Franzel-related drama preseason situation.
Shocking.
Yeah, I know. Shocker, to quote Danny. And we have a lot of just strategic conversations, vote counting, and a big question from tonight's episode to get to. Before we dive into anything here, though, if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You will be our personal all-star. Unfortunately, we don't have a costume to give you, and
No.
I know. But if you do want to support us in another way, just check out the links in the description to the store and our Patreon, where we have live chats at the end of every month and some other benefits there as well.
All right, so we're going to start out talking about the safety suite because this is brand new to all of us, of sort of how it works. Kind of, they told us how it works, which was interesting, sort of what they ended up actually doing with Kaysar going in at the last minute, with Janelle right after him, which was a really great strategy because that way they don't end up in a situation where they both go in and then someone's like, oh man, we got to go in and make sure neither of them win. It was a really good strategy. But then it kind of, we were talking about this and it wasn't explained very well.
Yeah.
What happens if only Kaysar went in there? So does he just automatically get safety? Is he playing against a clock, against himself, where if he doesn't do it in a certain time, then he doesn't get anything?
Maybe we missed something. I mean, if we did, feel free to tell us in the comments.
Yeah,
but
please do.
It feels kind of odd to me that the time was running out. Kaysar could have just ran in there, get the little key card pass or whatever. Maybe he would go into this DJ room, which, by the way, I don't know if this was in the house or not, if I'm being honest. It was a pretty big room.
That song is stuck in my head, and I'm not going to sing it here because we're going to get demonetized, but that has been just like running in my head over and over again, so thanks.
Thanks, Big Brother, for yet another weird earworm. But yeah, I don't know if Kaysar had been the only person who competed, maybe he would have been spared this, because maybe he would have just walked into the room and there would have been an envelope and it would have been like, you've won, and then they still would have like sprayed all that stuff. And
I was going to say, there needs to be confetti and stuff dropping from the ceiling. It's supposed to be a party, right?
Yeah, it's the thing that's weird about it, yeah, is that why did Janelle join him? Because they know each other based on what I've seen on the feeds already, and this isn't a big spoiler. It seems like they knew that each other were going to be on this season in advance, so
Yeah.
Doesn't it make more sense for Janelle to not play now that we know the rules, and she could have played next time and tried to save him?
I think my only feeling is just that because the safety suite is kind of new, and I mean, we're even sitting here questioning, being like, what if only one person goes in? Maybe she was worried because Kaysar was still a little bit all over the place, that even though they had a really good relationship, that still doesn't guarantee anything, that for sure he's going to pick her. He's probably going to pick her, but probably isn't 100%. And at that point, Janelle just might have been like, you know what? No risks.
Maybe she was just thinking, okay, if he goes there by himself, somebody else may decide to run behind him at the last second to try to compete. Or she could have done this. You know, all VIP suites have bouncers, right? She could have just stood in the doorway while he's doing it and been like, you shall not pass.
Could you imagine the fight that would happen if that went down like that?
Please
I would kick
do
somebody
it.
right out the
Do
house,
it.
right over the balcony. Just punt them right off.
If that happens, well, number one, punting would be new in Big Brother. That could be entertaining. We will. That would be such breaking
And then
news.
they would escort me right out of the
Yeah, like that is like
I'd be so
instant
mad.
live feed update material right there. But like I don't know. I still have questions about that, but it's neither here nor there. Kaysar is safe.
Yep.
We can rejoice in that. We're gonna get into the live feeds, but just quickly, obviously spoilers from the feeds if you don't want to know. But
Yeah.
quick recounting of things. If you didn't know, Enzo won the power of Veto. He's not planning to use it. I have not heard anything today that suggests that Enzo is going to have a change of heart in any shape or form. There's debate out there as to whether or not he was serious when he told Cody about, could we put up Tyler? I thought they were kind of messing around.
Yeah, I watched it a few times, and they were both just smiling and kind of laughing. I mean, it felt like a joke, and I mean, as many times as I've watched it to try to see if it's serious, man, I just don't see where it is serious. They're just joking around. That's what it feels like.
What's exciting to me at this point? It's not exciting, obviously, to lose Kevin, who was certainly endearing on the episode tonight, or...
Yes, he called himself an awkward potato. I just love him.
We are all awkward potatoes
right?
Within the Big Brother world. It's one of those sort of things where it's just like, Kevin, okay, I want him to stay, and what's so kind of disconcerting about this week right now is I still don't have a great inkling as to what's going to go down, and, like, we'll talk about it, like, Nicole Franzel, like, she seems like she likes Kevin better, and she gets along with him, but she's also worried about him as a competitor. It's weird, because Kaysar sort of talked earlier like she was really close to winning this veto at one point, but... Some of the house guests are talking as though Kevin got really close and that they almost felt like Keisha didn't do well at all. So they're worried more so about Kevin as a threat, and that could hurt him even though he didn't even win.
Yeah, and I mean, I like Keisha and I like Kevin,
yeah,
but I would be more worried about Kevin because he is really good at playing that social game. I mean, that moment tonight, seeing Cody and Kevin talking where Cody's heart was just smashed into pieces over sort of the idea of putting Kevin up and being like, oh man, I have to put that aside. I mean, if it was a different HOH, that might have actually worked on them.
Yeah,
Kevin is dangerous.
It is a reminder of how good he is at work. Like, I thought everything he said to Cody was genuine.
Yeah,
and he felt it.
I do.
But it also is good strategically if you were able to work the heartstrings like that. And I even think Cody, he doesn't want Kevin to go, or at the very least he didn't at the moment he nominated him. It was just sort of, well, I can't nominate the people I wanted to, and Keisha was kind of my backup plan, so yeah, she's up there now.
So, as far as where Danny is landing, she also likes Kevin.
Yeah, this is the real thing that's tricky about all of this, because Danny seems to like Kevin very well. Nicole F seems to like Kevin. Nicole A also seems to like Kevin, by the way.
Yep.
Like, she's been kind of working really, really closely with him. Janelle is sort of subtly trying to push keeping Keisha. Like, she's done that in a conversation with Danny today. Janelle just needs to be careful and just sort of read the room, because if it's starting to seem like people are going to get rid of Keisha, I think you have to back off of it pretty fast. You can't push too hard, because her neck isn't even on the line right now.
But it does look like Christmas is also thinking it's better to keep Keisha. So it is a strange but could be entertaining spot, because it kind of does feel a little bit like a house divided.
And here's the thing that's going to be exhausting about the next couple of days, and we'll bring this up especially to all of you new feedsters this season, which we always welcome the new feeders with open arms. It's great to have more people in the community. You get to live out all the collective frustrations of all of us other Big Brother fans who endure 3 days of people jumping on the fence, jumping back off the fence, jumping back on the fence. This will probably change at least 8 times between now and Thursday.
For sure.
Sometimes it feels kind of like there's a consensus, and even then, they still waffle about it because they're bored.
It's true.
Maybe the backyard will distract them a little bit. I don't know.
Too much time on your hands makes you waffle.
All right. It's time for an ongoing segment entitled This Time in Nicole Franzel Preseason Drama.
Yeah, it is like day 5, and there is so much drama from before the season that has been brought into this house. And I'm not here necessarily for the drama. I'm here for the strategy and the gameplay. That's what I really like. So all of this stuff that was going on preseason, I was a little more removed from it. I knew it was going on, but I kind of was like, I'm just waiting for the game to start. I thought it was going to be done before they went into the house. So when the house opened up, I was like, oh man, finally, we're going to move on from all this other stuff that's going on and just get into the game. But here we are. So here we are.
This is the thing. I love mess. And this is probably why, and if we were playing Big Brother, you would actually probably be a better player than me, because I want all the nonsense.
Oh, you love mess.
I revel in just this garbage, and I will be Lord Garbage of the Nicole F drama with, okay.
I like it when it has to do more with the game. This stuff is sort of like stuff that happened not in the game, so it's outside the game, before the game.
I'll admit that this is a little bit weird for me also, as much as I do love the mess of it, just because I'm used to it being stuff that's kind of reserved into the game. But okay, yeah. I'll rewind a little bit because this goes back a little way. So prior to people even being in sequester, really, like this is a long time ago, Evil Dick posted something on Twitter suggesting that Nicole F called up production and was really, really mad that she wasn't on All Stars, and that she basically cried her way, allegedly, into being on the cast. That was something that was out there. We saw it way back when, but if you watch our preseason videos, we don't really come on and talk about every preseason All-Star rumor under the sun.
No, because we just don't really know what's true or not. And while it's super fun to talk about the rumors and kind of get mixed up in the messiness of it all, for Matt especially.
For Lord Garbage over here. That's going to be my new name now. What did I do to myself?
But it's... it can get really overwhelming because everything is he said, she said. There's no proof to anything. And so for me, I'm always the person that was coming on and pouring cold water all everything and just being like, you know what? Unless I see, bring me the receipts. If I don't have the receipts, I'm not interested in this. I want to know that it's true or I'm not in.
So Nicole F is aware of all of this, and she had a conversation with Tyler about some of these rumors, and you know, she's obviously denying it, saying it's not true, and she makes a pretty good argument that, you know, why would she need to cry to be on All Stars? I have already said I'm not the biggest Nicole F fan in the world, but she is a winner of a past season. She made it fairly far the first time. I think she's pretty popular with casual viewers of the show.
I think that personally, is just my opinion, that CBS would take as many winners as it can get their hands on for an all-star season, because the more winners you have, the more that all-star moniker actually sticks, instead of, you know, having people that maybe were eliminated early or whatever, and then everyone starts to get into these debates of, like David, oh, is he really an all-star? He was there for a minute, you know, but more winners would have kind of squashed a little bit of that, maybe.
Unless your name rhymes with Maxon or Mandy, there is a good chance they probably would have wanted you on this season.
Yes, we've done like a could there be an all-winner season, and kind of went through people who will never come back or people who they would not want to come back, and the list isn't small.
No, it's complicated to think of a lot of winners. So I think they wanted Nicole, but this rumor was out there. But what's interesting within the context of the game, like this is why this matters now, is that Nicole F seems to think that there are two people responsible. Evil Dick, no surprise there, he's the person who tweeted about it. Yep. But she also feels like Janelle had some sort of role in a lot of this, and that's not as clear because you took on the role of social media detective here.
Yeah, I went back and looked at Janelle's tweets for the past like month and a half, and she hasn't tweeted anything about this. So if Janelle really had a hand in it, then I'm curious what that hand is. Was she behind the scenes talking to other Big Brother players? Was the idea just that she was going to bring this sort of rumor or drama into the house? Because we did see her spill this other rumor going around about that Dan told her that Nicole F got him and Derek kicked out of the game before they got onto the game.
It's weird that all this stuff is happening. I don't really think Nicole F had to cry her way onto the show.
No, I don't actually
or
either.
Anything like that, but
it might have been a situation where maybe CBS didn't reach out to her. Maybe they thought she's doing other stuff right now. She is planning a wedding. Is she really going to want to also come and do this at the same time? Weddings take a lot of planning, so to remove yourself from that to then go into the house, she is also running a podcast and her own sort of stuff. So they might have just not reached out for that reason and not because they didn't want her. So it could have just been as simple as, Nicole Franzel finds out about it, gives them a call, is like, yeah, actually I am interested. And CBS is like, cool, then all right, you're on.
I ultimately what matters here is that it's really framing we've already got Nicole F possibly versus Nicole A. If Nicole F also has some sort of pregame, I don't know if I want to call it a grudge, but something against Janelle, you've got a lot of pregame animosity here, and it could be a big narrative on the show moving forward.
Yeah, I think that this whole thing with Nicole F and Janelle is going to be one of the things that are going to blow up, because I think that rumor that Janelle said that she had said she spoke to Dan, and I can't confirm it, so I'm still calling it a rumor, that she said she had spoken to Dan and confirmed this rumor about Nicole F getting Derek out, and she told it to Nicole A. Nicole Anthony tells somebody, or if she doesn't and Janelle tells somebody else, this is eventually going to build distrust with everybody and Nicole Franzel, and it is going to get back to her at some point.
This is messy. This is
messy.
It's probably getting messier. Let's try to get into some alliances here. We'll do a quick alliance update on the other side of the latest. Welcome to I don't even remember my name. Lord Garbage's Garage. I don't know.
Oh, Lord Garbage. I don't like that. You're not garbage.
Okay, all right. It kind of sounds cool, except for the garbage part. Okay, anyway, let's talk alliances for a second.
Okay, so Memphis is pushing an alliance as well, where it's him and Danny and Tyler and Cody and Bailey and Christmas, and he was pushing it to Danny. But Danny later went and told Cody about it, which is not that surprising. I mean, she seems to be pretty comfortable with him, so, and she seems to be trying to build something with him. But she sort of was like, I don't know, wondering why he didn't also bring in Davon with Bailey. Like, why are you going to bring in one without the other? Because we know because we've seen the feeds that they've had a talk and that they are going to work together. I was just sort of a little more, is it that obvious in the house already that those two are working together that Danny would be like, why aren't you also bringing in Davon?
Yeah, and
so that's not good.
Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious that they might be, and maybe this is just a bad read on Memphis. I just thought Memphis was just basically just trying to round up random players so he could have like a mole in different places, which is kind of diabolical, but it doesn't really account for personality or anything else like that. The big takeaway to me is that Danny and Cody, like Danny's telling almost everything to Cody. Like, it seems like that is who she really trusts a lot, which might be worrisome to other people who might want to work with Danny.
Right.
All right, so quickly, we'll say Cody also has an alliance, by the way. It is Cody, Danny, Enzo, Nicole F. That's still a thing. Cody's arms are pretty much everywhere, and we've heard even Janelle and Kaysar talking about wanting to work with him. He may actually come out of this in a fairly decent place.
And it also looks like Davon and Tyler have made some sort of an alliance, so Tyler is playing the same game that he played last time.
Take another drink if you've done the how many alliances is Tyler in drinking. I can't even count anymore how many final twos. I don't know if they're final twos, but anyway, we'll wrap this video up. But let me know what you thought about this episode and all the live feed stuff we discussed below. And if you did like this video, give us a like, subscribe, support us further, check those links to the store, the Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.